Albert King, what a legend. It seemed like back in those days, you needed the name King if you wanted to be king of the blues. You had to be Albert King, B.B. King, Freddie King, King Kong. No, not King Kong. I love listening to Albert King, as did Stevie Ray Vaughan. Stevie Ray Vaughan's phrasing was amazing, and a lot of it he got from Albert King. So Albert King was quite famous for sort of playing on 3 strings. He played upside down. He had weird tunings. We're not going to do any of that, but we're going to try and evoke the Albert King sort of sound, right? We're just going to think about playing on the top 3 strings, which is what Albert King did a lot. And he kind of stayed in like one position a lot of the time with his playing, a little bit like B.B. King did, but in a different sort of a way. So we're going to try and do that and evoke the Albert King sort of spirit. For a good example of Albert King's playing, listen to the Born Under a Bad Sign album. There's a song on there called Personal Manager. If you go to the solo in Personal Manager, I'll put a link to it down below on Spotify. Just have a listen to that solo. It's in the same key as I was doing the little solo at the start. So you can kind of hear a lot of the lines that I'm doing in my solo in his solo. It's very typically Albert King. So what we're thinking of is the solo at the start I was doing was in the key of G, right? Now, Albert King was very much, he played a lot of minor pentatonic. So he's playing minor pentatonic across the top of the progression. And he's thinking position 1 there, position 2 there. Now he played a lot out of position 2. So he's sitting here a lot. So that's where we're going to kind of focus. And if you notice the solo I did at the start, I'm kind of just sat around there for the first 12 bars. And then I move for the second 12 bars. Now, when he's playing, Albert King is following the changes. Whether he knows he's following the changes or not, I don't know. But he is following the changes. And we're going to start thinking about how Albert King follows the changes by just thinking about this simple area here and how we can follow the changes by staying in that area, right? So the first lick I did was something like... Now there, the first thing that you notice is the aggression. I'm hitting that string really hard and bending really aggressively because Albert King was very aggressive, like Stevie Ray Vaughan. Right? Now, when I'm here, I'm thinking about, we're on G, right? We're thinking about G. So I'm thinking about this G note here. So I'm doing a little path, if you like, to come back to that G note. Now I've got a few more bars of G, haven't I? So the next line I did was something like... Now this is the most Albert King-y lick I think I know, right? It just sounds so Albert King, where he's bending here, and then instead of going down to this note, he's going to this note, which is not in the pentatonic scale, but he's bending it half a tone, so he's got... Yeah? And I love that. That's just so good, you know, I just can't get enough of that sound. And then vibrato on the end. Bit of raking like Stevie Ray Vaughan would do. Yeah, it's such a good, strong sound. It's great. So the first lick was... And then... And all I'm doing with the first lick is my little motif. Then I'm expanding the motif by doing the little cool semitone bend thing. You know, so I'm working on that motif. But both lines come back to this G note, right? Because I'm on G, right? Now, when it goes to C, I want to target a C note here. So over the first 4 bars, it comes to the C. Right, so I'm doing a line into that C note. And then a similar line back to the G. Now, hopefully you can hear the chords moving. Obviously, there aren't any chords behind me, but you should be able to get the feel that I'm following the chords. So now I'm back to G. Now I want to hit the 5 chords. So the 5 chord's going to be D. There's a D note there. I'm going to bend to it. 4 chord. So over the whole thing, if I do that, if I'm just going to play now and try and follow the chords and try and talk about it at the same time, you'll see how I'm following the chord with my playing. So over the 1 chord. 4 chord, back to 1 chord, 5 chord, 4 chord, 1 chord, 5 chord, yeah? So I'm really following the chords very closely by following the root notes, right? Now the root notes are going to be massively strong. I could play thirds or fifths or flat sevenths over it, but playing the root note is really strong, and that's what I'm doing a lot of the time when I'm thinking about this Albert King thing, right? So that's what I did over the first 12 bars, and I'm in position 2. And I'm kind of thinking it's a bit like the B.B. King triangle thing, but played in a different way, played in a more minor way. I'm thinking of those notes, really. Right, so that's my little palette of notes. I mean, it's very compact. And you might think, well, isn't that just really samey? Well, it's not necessarily. If you play the way Albert King plays, he doesn't sound samey, right? He just sounds really cool. And it's a really good thing to do to be able to play in that very concise area with just a few notes and trying to get as much out of it as possible. You know, and trying to follow the chords and try and do all that bending and get the vibrato in. So it is a really cool thing to do. Now, what I then did, I shifted that shape up. So instead of here, in position 2, I'm now going up to here, in position 4. And the only thing that changes is the high E string has got this stretch on it. Yeah, but largely I'm here. Yeah, so I'm just moving. Now, one thing that's changed is obviously the notes are in different places. My G note, my root note was here. Now it's here. So now I've got to go. And I got another root note there. So when I'm following the chords now, I just need to be aware of where those notes are. So G. Where's that C? G. D. C. Yeah. You also notice there I did kind of these like bends where you just go in. And I'm just bending it over and over again, and he did that quite a lot. Sometimes I'm catching like that, the string above, which is quite cool. You know, that's quite a cool thing. It gives it a little bit of dissonance. But I've got to come back. So I'm now in position 4, which would be this, of G minor pentatonic. So I'm just switching between there, right? So those are the sort of licks that you want to be doing. Now, all these licks and more are available on my Patreon page. They're all tabbed out. If you just click the link below there, it's on the screen for you now as well. You can check those out. Really good value for money. So just head over there, have a look, see what you think. But I love this sort of stuff. It's like simple, but really effective. There's no fast playing there. There's no sort of shreddy little bits going on, but the lines just sound really good. And what you should be doing when you're soloing is sometimes thinking, right, I'm just going to go into Albert mode. I do this, I'll just go into Albert mode, or I'll go into B.B. King mode, and I'll just sit for 12 bars, kind of pretending to be Albert King. You know, just really solidly Albert King. I might just stick the odd Albert King lick in my sort of normal playing, but often I'll just kind of switch into Albert King mode. Yeah? And it's all about that expression, that vibrato, hitting the strings really hard, bending really hard, lots of aggressive vibrato, following those root notes, and just kind of sitting in that one area and getting as much as you can out of that area. And also thinking things like, I'm not allowed out of that area. Because if you nip out the area and go into position 1 or position 2 or position 3, you'll actually sound less like Albert King. Now, if you want to do that, that's fine. But just sitting over those sort of 5 notes and really milking that and really trying to get as much out of that as you can will really help with your Albert Kingness. As always, like and subscribe. Click the Patreon link below to check me out on there, and catch you next time.